we're going to go into Word. So there's actually going to be a lot of information in this video, but it is things that you need to know in order to go through your online learning portal. You're going to have to create some documents and edit some documents and save some documents. So we're going to start by opening up the program, which makes sense, right? Most of the computers in the labs or anywhere on campus are going to have an icon down here in the taskbar. And this is the Word icon, is the blue icon with the W on it. If you don't have this pinned program icon, you'll need to access it through the Start menu. So if you click on Start, if it's not in your list, you're going to have to find it in All Programs, which is right here, or you'll have to search for it. So if you just type in Word, and it should come right up to Word 2016. To launch something from your Start program, you click it one time, okay? If we had an icon on our desktop, we would double click it. If we click in the taskbar, we'd single click it. Okay, so now we have the program open. And on the left-hand side, we have a list of recent documents. These are documents that we have worked on, today, and then, last week, and then these are some older ones. So if the document that you want to work on isn't here, then we would come over here to open other documents, and we would come up to the Open Dialog Backstage view, and we could tell it we want to browse, okay, and then we would find our flash drive in the navigation pane. Okay, this is the navigation pane here. So if I click on my flash drive, here is the contents of my flash drive, and then I would scroll down and I would find the file. I would find the file that I wanted to open. So let's say it's this Word ID button file. I would click that and I would click the Open button right here, and here I go. I have that file is now open. Okay, so that's to open a file that we've already created. Now what about opening or creating a file? So we've opened our Word program, and this time we're going to click on the blank document. Okay, so here I'm going to click on blank document. So here I have my Word interface. This is a graphical user interface, and so we've got our blank document open, and we can interact with the different buttons in this program. So first thing we're going to talk about is the general layout of the program. Word is very similar in its layout to Excel and to PowerPoint and to Visio. So Microsoft has tried to keep them relatively close to one another as far as the way they look. So their idea is that they keep that relatively close in their look. It's going to be a little bit more user-friendly for the consumer. Okay, and it really is, because if you know how to do something in one program, you can usually figure it out in another. Okay, so let's start at the top and work our way down. So at the very top here, okay, this whole thing, this is basically our title bar, okay? And so the title bar tells us what the document name is and what the program is that is open, okay? So we have document 1 and we know we're in Word. So document 1 is a placeholder. I know I haven't saved this yet, so it's showing me document 1. Once I save this, it will actually show the name of the document. So let's just do that. I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Save As, because the first time we save something, it doesn't matter if we click Save or Save As, it's going to ask us questions. It wants to know where we want to save it. So I'm going to tell it Browse, okay, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to find my flash drive, because working in this online learning environment, you're going to be using a flash drive more than likely. So we're going to change it. Right now it gave me a placeholder text of doc1 for the file name. So the thing we need to remember with file names, and I think we covered that in a different video, is you need to make sure that it is it is descriptive for you, so you know what it is without even having to open it up and look at it. You know what it is by the name. So we're going to say this is High School 21 test, okay? And it already knows what type of file it is. So the three things it asks for is, where do you want to put it, what do you want to name it, and what file type do you want to give it. We usually leave the file type alone, okay? The program knows exactly what file type it needs to be, so we just leave that alone, and then we're going to click the Save button. When I do that, it's going to bring me back into my document, and if we look at the title bar, it's going to say High School 21 Test as the file name. So here we go. Now we're at High School 21 Test, and we're opening Word. So this is our title bar, okay? This little area over here is our Quick Access toolbar. And the Quick Access toolbar gives us, that's right, quick access to things that we might use quite frequently. It's also customizable, so we can add things or we can take things away. So if I click this little drop down here, if I hold my cursor over it, it gives us a screen tip, and it tells us that if we click this, we can customize this quick access toolbar. So I'm going to click that. And so here I see all of these different things that I can put on my quick access toolbar. So they have a few right here, but they also have more commands that we can access. Okay, look at all of these things that we could put on our quick access toolbar. That's a lot of items. I'm not going to put anything else on there. I'm going to tell it okay, but you can see that we have a few. The one thing I want to point out to you is this one right here, this touch/mouse mode. Most new machines have a touch screen on them, so you know, if you think about the mouse or the cursor, the only part of that cursor that is actually active is the very tip. So you know, we can get in there and we can click and we can click and we can click, and it's fine. But if you use your finger, you tap on something and your finger may flow over to another command. So by having this touch mouse mode, we can actually increase the size of the command buttons so that we don't accidentally press a different command, okay? So that's just something nice to know that's there, and it's on all of the Microsoft programs. So I'm going to go back to mouse because that's what we're working with, and we have a little more options on there. So and I have a quick print button here, which means that I can send one copy of whatever I'm working on to my default printer with the default settings, and I don't have to go into the print dialog box or the print backstage view and deal with everything that's here and then click print. I can simply click it here right there, and then it will send one copy. I also have a save button up here. Okay, so you'll notice that some of these things have the screen tip, and then you'll see something in parentheses. And in an earlier video, in the keyboarding video, we talked about keyboard shortcuts. So here, with my cursor over the little floppy disk, we see the word save, and then in parentheses we see CTRL plus S. So if we hold down the CTRL button and then press the S key, it will automatically save any changes that we've made to the document after we've made the original or the initial save. So it automatically just does that for us if we do Control S. So it's a really good idea to get into the habit of, you know, type, Control S, type, Control S. Very simple. You're not going to lose any data if something happens. We have a power outage, something like that. So over here on the right hand side, we have the quick sizing buttons over here. We have the minimize, which will send the program to our taskbar. We have the restore down, which will make the program smaller but still active on the screen. That button then turns into maximize. So now if we click maximize, it's going to bring it right up to the entire size of the screen. And then we have the X, which will close the program. And if we've made changes to the document, it will prompt us to save those changes. Okay. So that's this up here. We're going to come back and take a look at this in just a little bit. So this next part of the screen, this is our ribbon. Okay, so this is the ribbon. And the ribbon is broken up into groups. So if you see, we've got these little lines here. Okay, so the ribbon is broken up into groups, and the groups have commands. So basically, our ribbon is three parts. We have a tab, and then each tab has its own ribbon, and then each ribbon has multiple groups that have multiple like commands. So our ribbon is broken up into groups of like commands, and each tab has its own ribbon, okay? So this is the font group. The font group pertains to how your font is going to look. So we're going to have font type and font size and bold, italicize, underline, and we can change the color of the font. And then we have the paragraph group, and that pertains to how our paragraph looks. So we can center the text, or right align the text, or justify the text, or we could change the line spacing. We could sort text. We can show our non-printing formatting marks. We can turn them back off. If you see a little arrow here in the bottom corner of a group, now it looks like most of these groups have them, not all of them do, but if you see one of these little arrows, that means that there are more options. The commands that you see on the ribbon are the most frequently used commands, but there are others available. So if I were to click this one, the font dialog box would pop up, and you can see all of the same options, but then there are a couple of others. So like we have the small caps, and then we have hidden text. We have some text effects. We also have an advanced tab that we don't see here. Okay, so the advanced tab gives us some other options that allow us to change the look of the way our font appears in our document. Okay. All right, so this is the ribbon, and now we're going to come back up here and take a look at this little guy. His name is Ribbon Display Options, and so what that means is if we click this, there are three options to choose from. We currently have the Show Tabs and Commands selected, which means that I'm going to see all the tabs and I'm going to see the commands on the ribbon. If I choose just to show the tabs, then the ribbon disappears. So the ribbon is actually not viewable until we click a tab, and then the ribbon comes down and lets us choose what we need to choose from it, and then once I come back here in the document, the ribbon goes back up into the tabs. Okay. And then we have the last one is the auto hide ribbon. I don't like this one. I like to be able to at least see my tabs. But when you click auto hide, all of that goes away. So we don't have our title bar up here. We don't have our tabs. We don't have our ribbon. We can get it back. We can click up here and it'll come back down. I don't like to do that. I would rather have them showing. So I would come back over here and I would say, I want to show those tabs and those commands. Now, I've had people in the past say, oh, well, it went away and I don't know how it happened. So, you know, this little button right here will actually collapse that ribbon. It won't take the tabs away, but it does push the ribbon back up into the tabs. So then you have to come back over here and tell it to show those tabs and commands. Okay, so that's our ribbon. Next thing down is going to be our horizontal ruler, our tab indicator, and our vertical ruler. Now, your machine may not show these by default, which again, default is just the preset configuration. For whatever reason, you have to go to View and you have to put a check mark in Ruler in order to see them. So you might be seeing this. How do I get my rulers to come up? Click View, go to Ruler, and then you'll see your horizontal ruler and your vertical ruler and your tab indicator. Okay, I'm going to go back to Home. The vertical ruler, or I'm sorry, the horizontal ruler, boy, you know, everybody gets this messed up, and I just did a bad injustice to you. I'm sorry. This is the horizontal ruler. The horizontal ruler runs parallel with the document or the bottom of the screen or the status bar. So it's running horizontally across this document. Then we have the vertical ruler, and the vertical ruler is standing upright, or it's perpendicular to the bottom of our screen. The third little option here is our tab indicator, and this allows us to set tabs to align text vertically on our ruler. And we'll get into that in a little bit. I just want to go around and show you all these things. So then at the bottom we have what's called the status bar. So this is the status bar, and the status bar shows us the status of our document. So it shows us how many pages we have, how many words we have typed, if we need to perform a spell check, or if we have any proofing errors that we don't want to miss. You'll notice I also have this section. This is not a default, so if I right click and do this, this is typically what you see. I've added sections because that is a formatting feature, and sometimes I use sections in my documents and I want to know which section I'm in and when. You can add other things. So if we right click, remember a contextual menu comes up. If we right click, we have other things that we can click. So I could come here and I could say, okay, I want to know when my caps lock are on or off, and that will tell me. So if I hit caps lock, it'll say your caps lock is on. If I turn it back off, then my caps lock goes off. Did you see that down here, right here? So if I hit caps lock comes on. If I type, I'm all capital letters. If I take my caps lock off, now it's no longer at the bottom and my letters are no longer capital. Okay. All right. So again, other things that you can add to your status bar. Okay. If we come over here, these are our view buttons. Now sometimes if you download a file from the student's drive, which is the classes U directory on the computer that you're working on at the college, it will be in read-only format. And so if you see read only, you're going to see something that looks like this. So you're not going to have all of your tabs. You're not going to have your ribbon. What you need to do is come down here to your view and say, we want to go to the print layout view. And the print layout view is going to give you back your ribbon and your tabs, and you'll be able to edit that document. Okay, and then we've got, this is our zoom slider. Okay, so this is the zoom slider, and what it does is it allows you to zoom in or out on the document. So if you're working on a picture and you want to be able to see it a little bit more, you can zoom in on it. You can zoom out on things to see how two pages are going to look side by side. It does not affect how you print it. So if you zoom in 150% and then you go to print it, it's still going to print it at 100%. It's going to print it at the normal size. If we adjust the zoom slider, here, it affects the zoom level right here. So these are married. If we hit minus, then it's going to say 120, 110, 100. If I hit plus, 110, 120, 130. I'm going to go back down to 100. So these two things are united as one. Okay. On the right-hand side, we have this scroll, okay, right here. So this is comprised of four distinct sections. So we have a scroll down arrow, and we have a scroll up arrow. Then we have the portion that actually moves. So this is called the scroll box or the scroll slider. Okay, scroll box or scroll slider, either one of those is fine. The track that is behind, that connects the up scroll and the down scroll, is called the scroll bar. So the scroll bar holds the scroll slider or the scroll box and connects these two items. Okay, I know it seems a little backwards, but that's exactly how it is. Scroll bar holds the box moves, and then we've got the up and down arrows at the top and the bottom. Okay. So that's the basic layout of our Word program. And we're going to, in future videos, we're going to learn a lot about working with Word so that you find things a little bit easier to do. A lot of people haven't used Word before, and some people who have used Word have just kind of plunked around and they're not real sure how to get different things accomplished. So for now, that's it for this video. We're going to come back at another video and we will continue on. So thank you for joining me and have a good day.